now in this age of AI, people are worried, like, who am I? What is my role? And I'm sure you deal with this all the time. And they're asking themselves these questions.
Our projects took months to do.
Right.
And now these projects are taking days. We all have this powerful tool, AI, in our back pocket.
Right.
And how do we use that? How you use it and I use it and you use it is going to be different. If you ask a good question, you're going to get a good answer. If you ask a bad question, you get a bad answer. And you decide how you're going to use that answer to become a better professional.
I'm using AI every day in a new way to take that further. So this is all in real time.
Yes.
Right? Which is the way us people in technology have to live. It's all, you're flying the plane while you're building it, so to speak. No matter what category or industry, you kind of see yourself fitting into this box. We all have to look inwards and say, wait a minute. What am I doing? For so many years, I've been on autopilot, right? This is how you're supposed to rise to your next level in your career. Or this is what you're supposed to do. And this is changing everything. This is totally upending how we think. When you tap those different sides, you can actually elicit ideas and concepts and theories that could help you come up with a unique idea.
Hi, this is Asha Saxena. I'm a tech entrepreneur, professor at Columbia University, a best-selling author for The AI Factor and The Digital Human Advantage.
I'm Julie Faupel, CEO and founder of Realm Global, a community for the most elite real estate professionals in the world.
So this podcast is going to touch upon artificial intelligence and luxury. But most importantly, it's going to talk about how it's redefining luxury in today's day and age.
I'm so excited to learn more about how we protect our most precious assets, our relationships, using technology and artificial intelligence.
Really think about the culture and, most importantly, the human potential. I welcome you all to continue listening and participating. Welcome to Intelligent Luxury. Welcome to Intelligent Luxury, another episode talking about luxury and artificial intelligence. What a great mix of technology and something that we do every single day is engage with luxury. So for that, we have Laura and Abigail. Welcome to the show, and I'm looking forward for this conversation.
I am too. So I am so happy to have you both here because we're going to flip the script a little bit, and I am going to interview these two amazing women because they are really powerhouses both in the world of thought leadership, AI, luxury, but I think even more important is the human side to where all of this is going, where the big picture is, and where we can really still find the best of ourselves in all of it. But, just to kind of give us a little bit of you, because Abigail, you are a very special guest. But tell us a little bit about you. You worked with Google. You have had your own podcast, The Human Code. Tell us a little bit about your world at Anthropology and what you've been working on.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be amongst both of you, host and guest, but also host as well.
Yes.
I love the flipping the switch thing. I think that's awesome. So you mentioned it before, but I actually studied social anthropology, which I have taken throughout my career. It's been like a leitmotif throughout my career. So if you think about it, anthropology is the study of why people do what we do, like why we eat what we eat or wear what we wear. I actually studied the economic anthropology. In that case, it's like how we value things, right? Super interesting. And then I was in advertising. And as a brand strategist, I had to understand, why people buy what we buy. Everything from Cheetos to luxury products to insurance, right? And those answers to the whys were often profound and game-changing. And so I was always interested in human beings, not at the surface level, but at a very, very deep level. And then I end up at Google. And I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to last here? Right? I had such imposter syndrome. Here I was in this tech space, in the sales org in a tech space. And I thought, oh man, I don't really know a ton about technology, but I knew a lot about anthropology. And what I had seen is that here you have this industry where you had a lot of data. And that was amazing, right? At that time when I started many, many years ago. And what I call the what, you knew what people were doing, but you didn't know why they were doing it. right? And so my thinking is, well, if we could understand not just what people were doing, but why they were doing it, we could that much more easily get to the how. I could help my clients really understand how people engage with these platforms, so I could help them really create for them too. I spent so many years at Google really trying to decode that why. I actually sent Anthropologist into the field to understand that. And so throughout my career, I've realized that when we really understand what human beings need and aspire to, and by the way, they're not going to say it in a survey.
Right.
They're not going to
Exactly.
say it to your face. You have to really dig in. You have to analyze it. But once you understand that, the world opens.
Yeah.
You know how to communicate with them. You know what technologies to create for them. You know what kind of products and brands to create for them. And so I've just loved it. I was fascinated with it, and I realized this is my ticket. This is like the key. So then I developed a podcast because I was so interested in very creative people, particularly at the time from the Hollywood world, to understand their worlds. Now I have a newsletter to do the same thing. And really that newsletter is to help people unleash their humanness, because now in this age of AI, people are worried, like, who am I? What is my role? And I'm sure you deal with this all the time.
all the
And they're
time.
asking themselves these questions. And my feeling, again, is to go back to our core, go back to our humanness. Now we can spend time actually really unleashing that, and really unleashing that unique humanness that we have in all of us. And by the way, AI is not just facilitating that by taking away a lot of the technical stuff that we used to have to deal with, but it's actually also a tool to enable us to really explore that even more.
Right, and that's what we were talking about a little
Exactly.
bit earlier, which was the kind of self-discovery that you can have if you're actually using these tools and experimenting with them in different ways.
Yes.
You're learning a lot about your own core. Can you speak a little bit to that, Asha,
Absolutely.
in terms of how that is actually helping now to inform how AI relates back to us, which is so mind-boggling?
You know, I have to say, Abigail, you touched upon such an important piece of this puzzle, which is artificial intelligence, which is the data.
Yes.
You know, we all, as data scientists, we get so excited about data.
Yeah.
It's like, we've got the data, where can we get more data?
Right.
Because we are trying to study and understand the humans or the data that gives us this insight. You know, I worked for 3 decades in technology. And as a data engineer, I was working with databases and building warehouses, and then really structuring the data in a way that we could get some intelligence, some information out of this data. And that was my career. And then you fast forward, you're working with these models as machine learning is evolving to really take all that information, not only understand, our projects took months to do.
Right.
And now these projects are taking days.
Right.
You can very quickly look at the vast amount of data, and you know, we call it deep learning, is when you use that information to learn deeply about the topic in a very quick, short time to be able to see the results. And that's where the human side comes. We all have this powerful tool, AI, in our back pocket.
Right.
And how do we use that? How you use it and I use it and you use it is going to be different. And it's going to give us different answers because we're asking different questions.
I love that. I totally agree with that.
And so when you ask different questions, you get the different answer. If you ask a good question, you're going to get a good answer. If you ask a bad question, you get a bad answer.
Right.
And then you get these choices of answer, and you decide how you're going to use that answer to become a better professional, to become a more empathetic human, to become someone who cares about providing value at every room you walk into. And I think
Fascinating.
that's what this technology makes us, you know, helps us differentiate ourselves from somebody else.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I think one of the things that I've learned about you, Abigail, is that, you know, and you're actually going to get ready to speak to this at the next Realm conference, which is this expansiveness edge that, you know, sort of takes that human quality and really has a framework around reaching in deeper, connecting a little bit deeper. I'm curious to know how you think that that is playing out in the world of how we're using and engaging in the AI world. Like, what is that self-discovery and how we're using it to understand others better?
Yeah.
Not just through the data, but through the exercise and the frameworks of leveraging it as a tool.
Yes, and I'm asking myself that question. In fact, as I develop this concept, I'm writing a book about it, I'm using AI every day in a new way to take that further. So this is all in real time.
Yes.
Right? Which is the way us people in technology have to live. It's all, you're flying the plane while you're building it, so to
Yes.
speak. I definitely see a role there. I mean, first of all, as I mentioned before, the very fact that there is this thing called AI, it is challenging all of us, right? So we're asking ourselves questions we didn't ask before, right? That we're asking ourselves like, well, what is my role in this new era? Like I expected to do X, Y, Z for 30 years. I can't expect that anymore, right? So it's whether you call that fear or just a new sense of self-awareness. Just the entity of AI is kind of forcing that. It's a forcing function with that, which I think is a good thing because we all have to look inwards and say, wait a minute, what am I doing? Who am I? Because we're on, we for so many years have been on autopilot, right? This is how you're supposed to rise to your next level in your career. Or this is what you're supposed to do. And this is changing everything. This is totally upending how we think. Okay, so that's number one. Then, of course, it's the tool itself that you can use, right? So the first step in this notion of expansiveness, whether you want to call it getting your expansiveness edge or really an expansiveness challenge, really, is to say, okay, well, what are the components of me? In so many worlds that we're in, no matter what category or industry, you kind of see yourself as this, fitting into this box.
Right.
I'm a marketer.
Yes.
Or I am a data analyst. Or and that's the box you're in. And people like to put you in a box because we as human beings, we need to compartmentalize, right? That's how we can make sense of the world. There's too much data. There's too much information. So we like to put people in boxes. That's why we have brands, right? Okay. But the fact is, we are way more than just a marketer or a data scientist or an author. We're also women. Maybe we grew up in another country.
Yes.
Maybe we speak a fourth language. Maybe we are training for the marathon. All these different sides of ourselves, we tend to kind of eschew and think they have no relevance to our careers. But the fact of the matter is, when you tap those different sides, you can actually elicit ideas and concepts and theories that could help you come up with a unique idea, right? And this is the basis of creativity. So I speak a lot about creativity. I've been in the creative world for a very long time. And at the heart of creativity is the concept of combining different notions, unlike notions, to come up with something novel, right? And I'll speak more about that. I don't want to give too much away. I'll speak more about that in the talk, but that's really the essence of creativity. AI is such a great tool to combine all these different sides. Okay, so now you do it.
We were just talking
right?
about that.
These divergent notions, right? So if you then internalize that and say, wait a second, okay, I am more than just this one role I play. I have this challenge in front of me. Let's say it's Abigail Posner has to succeed at Google. Okay, so what do? I don't know how to succeed at Google. I didn't learn the sales techniques. I didn't learn all this tech. Oh, but wait a minute, I have this other side of me called anthropology.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when you combine anthropology with technology? All of a sudden, you have a totally new perspective, a new way of solving a challenge, a new way of selling these products to your client. Oh, and let me add something else to the mix. As a kid, I was a ham for the stage, as you can tell, right? I loved being on stage. I wasn't a great actress, but I just, give me a camera, give me an audience, and I'm happy, right? So not only was I able to conduct and construct all this research and insight, but then I was able to socialize it, both internally and externally.
That's great.
Because I had a gift for going on stage. And so I would trot all over the world to share this thought leadership. And then next thing you know, you have a speaking agency calling you up, right? So my point is, if we actually start tapping these different sides, different experiences, the learnings we've had, the experiences we've had, and not just said, okay, now I want to be more whole, that's great too, or more integrated, that's wonderful. But it's actually leveraging the creative technique of combining these different sides to come up with a unique idea. Then you will not only be so fulfilled with yourself because you're expressing who you are, but you will come up with ideas that only you can come up with. And that will showcase to the world your uniqueness.
I love what you're saying because we were talking about that, and I was saying that as a math geek, as a science geek, I am zero in design or art. So if you tell me that you have to design a home, I just freeze. Or if you tell me, make your landscaping beautiful, I have no idea what to do. So I'm always calling my landscape designers like, do something with my front yard because I need more color.
I'm the same
or I
way.
need-
I'm the
right?
same way.
And so now he's like, I'll come in 3 weeks. I'll come in 2 weeks. And then he comes, oh, I need to take it back to my design and team and put
No,
something
the world
together.
has changed.
Now, exactly.
Right.
And now I just take a picture, upload it to my AI designer, designs and gives me some
Right.
options.
Some options.
And I go take it to my landscaper and say, make my garden look like this.
Right. And now you can express yourself.
And I don't have to be,
Right.
now
I
you're not
can be
going
an
back
engineer
and forth. Yes.
and I'm a artist because I have a help.
Right.
I can combine my skills to be anything I want.
Yes.
I mean, what a great world it is that our kids can go to AI tutor and learn about, science or art or
Right.
music.
And learn it in the way
That they can
they
consume.
can consume.
Exactly.
Because I think that's another thing that's so brilliant is that we learn in very different ways.
Yes.
And that self-exploration that I love about AI is that you are learning the best way for you to learn. So now your prompts are better. Now you can go
Yes.
to whichever learning
Right.
platform you're in and you can say, I need the skimmed down version of this.
Yes.
Or give me the book of dummies for landscaping, and put it in a way that I can understand, but also visualize.
Right.
So then you can ask for the images, or you can ask for, how it's interpreting something that you say. And I find that fascinating. So how did you start to use this? You started to use this kind of framework even at Google.
Yes.
Is that correct? And
Yes.
that kind
Yes.
how did that work at an organizational level and then at a team level, and how did that create a different culture or environment?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing is, it's hard for me not to be who I am, right? So in a way, Google had to kind of, accept what I was, right? Which, but that was a great thing because the rest of my team could feel the authenticity, right? So I would bring all these different sides of myself to my management, right? To how I led. And so they would pick up on that and really find that actually quite liberating so that they could do that. But also I did it with my teams, right? So whenever I would build a new team or inherit another team, I would say, okay, tell me more about you, not just like what you did at Google, but like, did you write a book? Did you study XYZ? I would always want to get some people who were just had different sides to them so that they could combine them, and they did. And I will tell you more stories at the the Realm conference about that. But then it's like expansiveness 10x, because imagine you take all these people within the team who then combine their different sides and then combine the sides together with others' different expansiveness. And then, oh my God, the ideas that you can come up with as a team, and only your team could come up with them because they only have these different sides, right? And then now we have a toolkit like AI to help us go, well, wait a second. So you dabble in coffee on the side and you danced for 15 years. Let's see if there's any kind of skills or notions that you can combine, right? And by the way, to your point too about you can now express all these sides that you didn't even realize you could express, right? That's also amazing. I mean, there is no way I could be writing the newsletter that I have, both from a video standpoint, but also the writing standpoint, without the AI tools that I have.
Right.
If it were 2 years ago, no way, I would have given up. Because I'm not a writer, I'm not an author.
Right.
Right? But what AI is helping me do is I have these ideas, I craft them, but it gives me the confidence to express myself because it helps me craft them better. Of course, you're in and you're out and you're in and you're playing and you're teasing
You're
and you're
playing
questions.
and you're molding.
You're molding,
Yes.
right. And of course, there's no question that at the end of the day, it is up to the human being to really shape this, right? But it gives you the clay. One thing that I've observed, there's a series I've done around anthropology and AI with my anthropologist buddy. He's a PhD, so very professorial. His name is Tom. And we've done quite a bit of analysis of AI. And one of the things that he noticed is that what AI does is it, as he says, hoovers up a lot, like you said, a lot of information, but it's often the most common, popular information, also the most topical information. We have to be discerning enough to go, wait a second, we got to go
A little bit
right?
deeper.
And oftentimes the insight lies in the outliers.
Hmm.
So you got to go and say, no, I don't want the most common
Generic,
response,
right.
the most generic response. I want the outlier. So we have to
That's a good
know
prompt.
the kinds of questions.
Give me the
right?
outliers.
So it's not just tell me what I need to know, maybe tell me a little bit deeper what I need to know. But you have to push it. You have
Yeah.
to challenge it.
Yes.
Right? And then
So it can challenge you.
so it can challenge you, because what I love about, and I said this in the other episode, is that it'll also always ask you more questions.
Right.
Maybe
Never
questions you
ending.
didn't think to ask. So it's to your point about being a great tool for discovery. It is, but also, you got to play. It's a partner. It's not your source of truth.
Right. Oh, I love that. That's a really good way of putting that. And so, speaking of the source of truth, because we're getting kind of near the end of this episode here, when we're thinking about AI and luxury, where is that truth? Is it with the human? Is it in our hands? Is it in the world of data?
I run these steering committees, AI steering committees, with large publicly traded companies. And generally, the reason AI steering committees are run is because the large organizations have this sensitive data and they don't know which employee or which division might land up leaking the data. So there's a lot of governance that's required around the data. And one of the meetings we were sitting around, and the CEO said something which I thought was really good, and for our viewers to really understand, that AI is a resource. He said, AI is just another resource.
Right.
It's technology, people, resources. Use AI as a resource and show me the money. And I think it's such a simple,
Totally.
clear
Right.
message from a CEO is that I'm giving you a tool.
Right.
Can it make me money? Can it help my company grow? Can I get scale?
Right.
So when you ask about luxury, artificial intelligence is just another resource. Yes, it's a powerful resource, but how do you use this resource to get ahead? How do you use this
Right.
resource to make sure that you're adding value wherever you're going? It is never going to replace the human with that emotion, that connectivity. Human sits as a creator, as the architect. Now, as you spoke about, we decide what questions we are asking.
Right.
We decide how we're using this tool. So the tool is just a tool without the humans engaging with it and using it intelligently to really communicate the message, the value, the output for the purpose of
Right.
helping others. Now, listen, nuclear people used to ask me, aren't you scared of AI? And I said, listen, I'm scared. You can be scared of science.
Yes.
Nuclear science, chemical,
Absolutely.
and biology, you could worry about biological weapon, chemical
Right.
weapon, and AI is another tool. It depends upon humans of how we use this tool,
Right.
good or bad.
Well, this was absolutely fascinating. I can't wait to learn more about the human code and what that means with AI. And Asha, this is fascinating. Your perspective with AI and luxury is just brilliant and visionary. And thank you for letting us have that time
And
with you today.
thank you for being the host today.
Yes,
and
I know.
get to
It
change
was fun.
Yes,
it was
exactly.
fun to be able
I
to
would-
switch places and put you on the spot.
I
for a
love
change.
it. Thank you
Yes.
so much. And hopefully you continue listening to Intelligent Luxury. Continue listening, continue participating. I always say, make sure you stay curious. Make sure you stay a lifelong learner. This is the time for you to jump in and use this technology for you to stand out. Good luck with that. And thank you for joining. I'll see you next time. Asha Saxena, your host for Intelligent Luxury.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Intelligent Luxury. Asha and I are delighted to continue on this journey with you as we continue to unpack the soul of the transaction and the intelligence of the technology.
At its best, luxury is intentional. So are the ideas you choose to engage with. If this episode inspires you or informs you, continue watching, continue listening, continue learning, and be on the path of growth. Thank you for listening. This is Intelligent Luxury.